Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 60. I am Chris.
It's me, your host, Mike. It's been a long road to...
What a long, strange trip it's been.
Very strange. I would like to say fun, but we all know that's not true.
No, I cracked the whip around here.
Lots of ups and downs. Lots of rounds and rounds. I don't know where to go with this. I know what you're all thinking. Wow, they've had a couple great guests lately. Who do they have lined up for episode 60? Nobody. Nobody's coming. Just like your father didn't show up to that music recital. Yeah, nobody's coming.
Oh, damn. Shit just got cold.
We are taking a dark turn with this episode.
It's the like irony of that, having Adam West Batman behind you is not.
Yes, that's my background today. For the people who are listening on iTunes, Stitcher, MySpace, if you're listening on those, please give us a review and stuff. But hey, if you can't see it, I have 60s Batman punching out Joker as my background this week.
Dude, you just gave me inspiration. We're totally getting a MySpace page.
Yeah, I can't imagine. You've been in charge of all the social media, but you left out one of the main heart and soul of the business is MySpace.
Sorry, I'm a busy man. Busy man.
We have. I was surprised we had a LinkedIn page before we had a MySpace one. So it's good to know we're covering all the bases here.
So as regular listeners know, there's no fucking news today, and so we're gonna bullshit. But Mike,
yes,
I was just approached to write for an anthology book.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. So I will be doing we haven't cranked out the details yet, but an 8 to 14 page anthology story.
For what?
It's a book called Rigor Mortis. They've only done a few issues so far. Indie guys, a bunch of artists who were just calling on writers, and I submitted an idea, and they liked it, and they said, "Give me a script." So,
holy crap, everyone! You saw it here first. Now this podcast has a little more weight to it because Chris is officially a writer. Everyone. They're like, good, because the bullshit he's writing for that podcast is not good. It sounds like it's all made up half the time, which it is. We didn't write this episode.
It's like, well, they need it because they ain't doing shit on fucking YouTube, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, nobody watches us. There was some trailers this week. The Jessica Jones trailer for season 2 dropped. It's about that. It's about it. Looks like season 1. Jessica Jones sitting in a bar, drinking alone.
When she's not in a bar, she's in her.
I gave a before we recorded the show. I had a pitch for a new Jessica Jones season that would make me really want to watch it. Is treat it like Cheers, where they just it's always at the bar, never anywhere else, and so like they could like continue the plot for the whole little New York City Marvel universe. Like, don't show any, like, it'd be the smallest budget ever. Like, oh man, fought Kilgrave today. Rough day, but they only focus on them drinking the bar.
As long as everybody from Cheers makes a cameo at some point, especially Frasier.
Like there's like this there's this running joke that they can't keep anyone to clean the bathroom, so they hire old senile people, and as they alternate them out, they're all just the old cast from Cheers. Like oh man. And then for some reason I want the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia to own the bar.
I want the cast from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia to do everything ever.
Yeah, I know. I just want to hang out with those guys. But yeah, that's my pitch for Jessica Jones season 3. If Marvel hears me, we have writers from Marvel on the show now, so I can't feel that I'm that far off from the limelight. It's I can almost feel the stardom happening as I speak.
But it looks like Kilgrave's coming back. They kind of tease it. And,
didn't she snap his neck? I'm really curious.
I was pretty sure she killed him, but then again, comics.
Yeah. It would be really messed up if he was like paralyzed from the neck down. That'd be messed up.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to be delving into her origin and how she became what she is, and that's where the main villain's going to come from. I'm not too familiar with Jessica Jones, so I'm sure that's happened before.
I think it's the same thing as like Captain America and Luke Cage. Just get like shot up with super serum, something of that idea.
Well, yeah, they hint towards some sort of resurrection, and that's what gave her powers. But who knows?
But now that I think of it, they really should put Kilgrave paralyzed because, like, isn't his powers he controls people?
Yeah.
So, like, the guy doesn't need to move. You could have someone pushing him around and doing all his bidding for him. So that would make sense if they're like, oh, you didn't kill him, but you paralyzed every other part of his body except his brain. So, oops. Better luck next time. Whoopsie daisy. What other trailers did we get this week? We
got Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2, yeah. I still have yet to watch all the first one.
So I absolutely love the first Incredibles movie. I watched this and I don't know if I want Incredibles 2.
Really?
I was super excited when they did the teaser because I was like, I love Incredibles, and then I saw this and it's going along the story of years later, and they want to bring back superheroes, and so they call upon the Incredibles, but they don't really call upon the Incredibles. They just want Elastigirl.
Oh.
And then they get, I don't know, it goes in a direction where it could be interesting, but then I forget the dad's name from the movie, but he has to take care of the family while she's out adventuring and this and that, and I don't know. It's just not where I want it to go.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, I was kind of indifferent about Incredibles, but I feel like all that hype for it and all that, the popularity of it was just kind of, it was the standalone superhero movie. I don't know, I feel like the sequel isn't the best thing for this.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It might be like, I don't know. They could take the turn where like it's like some lesson about getting older and growing up and stuff, and I'm sure it'll be really sad and depressing.
So Cars 3.
Yeah. So Cars 3. Was that the one of the trailer where the trailer poster where the car was like about to like crash and die?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what? I've never seen the Cars movie, but I don't know what happened to get to this point.
So I in the past year have watched all 3 Cars movies because children. And first one's fun. It's better than people think it is. The second one's god awful. It's like them trying to do James Bond with Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh my god! Oh god, that sounds that just left a terrible like taste in my mouth.
And then the third one's like, yeah, it's all about like getting old and not being able to do what the younger people are doing and having to like give up certain things to still do what you love and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, it's good, but
I don't know.
Hey everybody, Force Comic News is brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Fortress of Comic News. If you enjoy our content, you like what we're doing here, you like the growth that we're making, and love the future that we have coming, go over to Patreon.com/Fortress Comic News. Throw us $1 or $2. You'll get into our Slack channel. You get into the basically Insiders Club. I'm there all the time. I'll let you know what's going on, what the future of Fortress Comic News is, where we're heading, what's coming up, anything. And if you have any questions whatsoever, I try to answer as many as I can, if not all. So if you have an extra $1 or $2, throw it over there. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the show.
Yeah, that's all the news we had this week. It's been a quiet, calm before. Well, I mean, Black Panther's this weekend, so.
Yeah. Like, next week, we'll have a bunch of shit to talk about from this week.
Yep. Yeah.
Because neither of us has seen Black Panther yet, and neither of us has watched Gotham by Gaslight yet.
Nope.
And yeah,
I was thinking about doing the Gaslight thing this weekend. I did finish Shape of Water, the Guillermo del Toro movie that won an award, and it was really good. The monster was like, one of those old school rubber suit monsters. It's pretty cool. It is a monster movie and it's a romance movie, but it didn't feel like. It's not to the sense where guys are like, oh, it's a romance movie. It's like, it's fine. She has sex with a fish man. It's like, it's cool. Yeah,
romance is fine as long as there's a fish man involved.
That's my explanation of the romantic part. There's way more romantic scenes than that, but it's like it's a monster movie where she has sex with a fish man. Like 10 out of 10.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, moving on. No, but only Guillermo del Toro can make me take a movie seriously where the girl is like sleeping with a merman. Is the only way. I think the only director where I could be like, okay, that works. But yeah, it was fantastic. Any Guillermo del Toro fans should watch it, and it has one of those old school monster movie feels to it. It's good. A lot of the shots are done well, and the music in it's fantastic. It's well deserving of the award that he got. I wish he would do a Hellboy 3 and put an end to it all, but
ain't never gonna happen. I
know. Makes me sad. Makes me very sad. It's funny, a lot of people at work have been coming up to me like, you go to see Black Panther this weekend? You go to see it? I'm like, no, I don't have plans to see it yet. And they're like, wow, I heard he wasn't popular back in the day. Like, yeah, nobody read Black Panther because it's like one of the first black superheroes, right? And I actually read something really funny that when they originally started the book, it was a Jack Kirby. They told him they wanted more white people in the series. So what he did, and I think it was like the second issue or something like that, he had Black Panther beat up the KKK. It's such a great way to get around that, but it was like that's what they were fighting with back in the day, man. It was like, yeah, you can have a colored superhero, but okay, now we got to whitewash your book to make people read it. It's kind of sad, but look how far we've come, man. He's going to be an A-list hero now. He's got his own movie, big screen. It's great.
Well, yeah, and you're talking about a character that's had his own book now for quite a few years and successful. An A-list movie with a 99% African American cast. So
except for Golem, I think he's like the only white person.
Yeah, like Andy Serkis is the only white guy in the whole movie.
Yeah,
and a lot of people that I know that are African American have come back and just been like, this is what I've wanted. This is what I've been waiting for, and I feel really good for them. I'm glad that the movie's good, at least from what I'm hearing, and people are enjoying it. It's the Wonder Woman effect, It's people who didn't have a voice and now they feel like they do.
It's awesome.
And, yeah, it's great. I can't wait to watch it. It's nothing against it. It's just life gets busy.
Someone else at work was like, I heard there's 2 after credit scenes. And I was like, oh, golly gee, no fooling.
Only 2?
Only 2? It's just funny because, like, people come up to me and those are release coming out and they're like, hey, are you going it's like I'm up to no good this weekend. Are you going to see the movie? It's like, yeah, I'll probably go see it.
Well, it's funny because the yearly tradition has been to take the Friday off to go see Star Wars every year around Christmas.
Yeah.
And now this year there's not going to be a Star Wars during Christmas. It's going to be on, what was it, Memorial Day?
It's Free Comic Book Day weekend, right?
No, it's later in the month. Free Comic Book Day weekend is going to be Infinity War.
Oh, Infinity War. That's right.
So
how do you mess that up, though? How do you not have Star Wars on May the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Come on, Disney. It's like marketing 101. It's May the 4th. It's Free Comic Day. You release friggin' Star Wars, dude.
Yeah, the argument against that is that every Free Comic Book Day, with the exception of The Dark Knight, has been a Marvel movie.
Yeah, they just own every week. Every good selling weekend, they just own it. Like this weekend, it's President's Day weekend. So they're really good about releasing movies on vacation weekends because they know like that the kids will come home from college or people be on vacation. They'll be with groups of people. What do you do when you're with groups of people with your friends? You go to see movies. So they literally own every like
and there's
Veterans Day and
there's no competition. Like everybody moves out of their way to get out of the way of Marvel. Like even DC would move Justice League to get out of the way of a Marvel movie.
Black Panther's coming. Oh no, better move our movie.
But so the joker on work was that I always take that day off and it's moved to this day. Well, it's during a blackout period because in my line of work around a holiday that's when I get busy, so nobody's allowed to take time off outside of serious injuries, blah blah blah, stuff like that.
So break your arm.
And but we do have Memorial Day off, so everybody's just like, you don't be taking that day, don't be calling in sick. And I was like, we already have the day off. Why do I need to call in sick?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so I've been traveling a lot for work. I was in North Carolina last week, and I got to go near Chicago this week. I'm hoping to get some time. It really makes me mad when I travel and I don't get any time, any downtime. It's like get off the plane, meetings, get back on the plane. But I like to stop and look at comic book shops. So hopefully I can find something around Chicago to check out when I'm there, and I'll report back. I like to have stories of other comic book shops.
Oh, so since we're now in territory, just telling stories.
Yeah, let's tell. I mean, we're full into it now. The show started. We're done with the news. We got a couple books to talk about.
Yeah, but let's go. So I was we were talking last week with Colin about local comic shops and how important they are and everything. Yeah. So I was talking to our local comic shop owner yesterday actually, and I don't know if you knew, but Skybound sent the first trade of Oblivion Song to a bunch of comic shop owners. So he got to read it. He's telling me all about it. But he goes, the really cool part about it is that they only sent it to the top 1,000 selling stores in the country.
Wow.
Now he told me there's 3,500 stores in the country, so that puts you in the top 1/3. Now, anyone that's been up to upstate New York and visited Two Kings Comics, which might be a few of you, knows that, and there's no offense to the store, but it is a small store.
Yeah, it's smaller.
So for him to be in the top 1/3 of the country was a huge deal, and I just thought that was really cool. And on top of that, he said Oblivion Song is awesome. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. A lot of the times you walk into I think a lot of those comic shops are being phased out, but a lot of the successful comic shops I've seen, there's one in Albany I go to. That's the closest one to me. The one in my town actually closed after I moved here, and I'll explain to you why. I think because there's that old school comic shop where it's it's where the guy brought all his old comics to store them, and then he's just opened a shop. It's all musty and dirty, and you walk in, and usually they won't say hi to you. And that's, one of my biggest things is you walk into any store and you aren't even greeted by the person behind the counter. You're the only customer there. And I get that a lot of comic book collectors and stuff are antisocial and stuff. I get that type of person.
Quick interruption. My biggest pet peeve of any store, doesn't matter if it's a comic book store, whatever, is customer service, especially if you are a small business, because you live and die by people like us, and you don't deserve our business. You have to earn it. Yes. Damn straight.
But anyways, there's those comic shops where it's you don't ever feel welcome, and until you express your knowledge of the art or the collecting, or you know a little bit, and they'll be like, oh, well, maybe I'll have a conversation with you now. But it sucks that it's that way. But I think a lot of the successful ones are like the one I go to Albany, like Two Kings, the one we're talking about in upstate New York. They're new. They put all the new books up front, so everything's vibrant, new looking. They have big signs. Okay, this is new. They have some cool like statues and stuff that people would be interested in. And the biggest thing is there's people at the shop, but they're not buying anything. They're just talking with people, and that's a huge part of it. Like you never want to see someone like looking around. You're like, okay, you're gonna buy something. You stand at the counter and talk with the people of like, what happens when Wolverine gets cancer? I don't know. Oh, let's talk about it for an hour. Like, that's the type of shop you want. You want to have an environment that's friendly and stuff, and it translates to your sales, I'm sure, as well. But it's always nice to find a shop like that. Yeah. I mean, if you ever get the chance, go to your. If you're listening to this podcast, you've never been to a comic shop, you just stop, press pause right now, go find one, and give the owner a hug. No, don't do that. You always ask for permission first, but then maybe they can get a hug. I don't know.
I mean, they'll probably give you a hug. Just ask permission.
Okay.
First, though.
Yeah, just ask for. It's always good to ask for permission. I got some books to talk about this week.
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to talk about the books? It's a very sad week for me. I don't know about you.
Yes, it was. I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
The end of Invincible, the 88-page finale. There was what a rush! What a ride! That book was up. It was a roller coaster of emotions, up and down. It was 88 pages. They had a lot of things they had to tie up with that book. Issue 144, so it's been going on for 12 years. And there was a lot of like side stories going on. I mean, we see Mark is actually still leaving Earth. We see him leaving Marky by himself on Earth. So when he comes to find his father, they're like fighting and stuff. And this is like, I think it's like, I don't know, almost 20 years later, right? It's got to be 20 future they get to at the end of the book. Tara is like doing some cool thing where she saves other planets, but she doesn't actually want to fight with her father and the armies of the Vulturemites. There's a lot going on, but it was a fantastic ending. I think it was a great way to end it. I was a little upset that the second half of the book wasn't drawn by Ryan Otley. It was drawn by the original artist. I can't think of his name right now. But the faces are just so bad. Just some of the facial expressions are like, oh my god.
Corey Walker.
Yeah, Corey Walker. I know he's like what helped start out Invincible, but like some of the faces just like look like those rage faces or like those meme faces. Like, oh my god. I thought it was great though. How did you like it?
I absolutely loved it, and I think Kirkman pulled a fast one on us because I think he gets to get his cake and eat it too. This will definitely be the end of Invincible, but if I was a bet man, I'd put money down that we will at some point get a Kid Invincible book.
Yeah. Oh yes, we will. Yeah.
And even if it's not by him, even if someone else takes over, I'd be shocked if we don't get it at some point. So I think he not only cleared everything up and finished it, but he set things up to do, if he wants to do a book down the line, he can, and not break his promise.
And then he killed and revived Adam Eve for the third time over the book series.
I love that moment too, because she dies of old age. And it was a really sad moment, and then like it's a panel later, it's just like flash of light, and the next panel, it's her young again, and she's just like, "Well, I guess I'm immortal."
Yeah, it's like she was killed off at least 3 or 4 times over the series, and she kind of just like that's what happens to her. She just rejuvenates herself. No explanation, whatever. It was really good though. For any of you who weren't paying attention, Kick-Ass came out this week, and then Hit Girl comes out next week. Kick-Ass was a movie and a comic book series back in the day by Mark Miller and John Romita Jr. doing the art. Really good stuff. This issue takes place, I think, after. Well, it definitely takes place in another city. I believe it's on the West Coast as opposed to the East Coast, and it's within the same universe. So Kick-Ass is already established at some point because this girl comes home. It's really cool. I mean, Kick-Ass is a girl now, which is awesome. She's actually way more badass and better at her job than Kick-Ass ever was. Because she was like part of the special forces, but then like Mark Miller goes in the whole like, he always has to go on to some type of deep subject where she comes home from the special forces and she can't find her place in society because there's nothing for her when she gets home. So she decides to steal from almost like robbing her town and take some of the money and give it back to the community too. So I think it's really cool. It's going to be cool to see a Kick-Ass that knows what she's doing and is like a trained expert at killing people. I'm excited to see what they do with Hit Girl comes out next week. So I want to know what they're going to do with that character, whether it's still going to be her like older. But yeah, I thought it was a great first issue. It picks up at the same pace, and the same art and everything as the last Kick-Ass. Sorry, I keep saying Invincible. Did you read it?
So I did not.
No? Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, it's really good. And then Kevin Smith takes over after this, so hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while since he wrote a book.
It's one of those books where I'm a trade waiter. I don't have a lot of them, but that's just one because I got on it late and.
Yeah, and the problem with Kick-Ass is like Mark Miller, he gets excited about writing it. So like the first 2 issues will be a month apart, then like the 3rd or 4th issue will be 3-4 months apart, and then the last issue will take like a year for him to finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. And then I had Dark Knight. I'm sorry, it was a metal tie-in.
Yeah, The Wild Hunt.
The Wild Hunt. Now this
I did not read yet.
Okay. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I will say this. I won't spoil the ending. If anybody's reading Dark Knight Metal, this is... I didn't know Grant Morrison had a hand in writing this issue.
Oh, you didn't?
He did. I didn't know this. Yeah, I didn't know this.
Yeah, no, he didn't have a hand. He wrote the issue.
Yeah, he wrote the issue. It deals with a lot of the multiverse. You instantly know he wrote the issue because it revolves around Detective Chimp. Yeah. Yes. And I will say this, one of the shitty villains of the week is in the issue. If anyone to bring it back is the same guy who brought it back during the 52 run. It's Egg Foo Young.
Remember that you were going to say Codpiece.
No, but you remember how or is it Egghead? I can't remember which one it was, but
Egg Foo,
where Grant Morrison turned him into like a he's got like robotic spider legs and he's like a giant egg. Yeah, he brought him back. He just kind of like he doesn't say anything. He's just like standing in the background. I'm like, holy shit, he did it! Like Grant Morrison did it. Yeah, so it's a great issue. If you ever had to tell someone an example of comic book science or like, that's such a comic book way to explain things, this is like, I mean, this issue definitely makes no sense. They get into the whole musical theory of like like finding frequencies and stuff in the multiverse, and it's like it's so comic booky. It's great. It's awesome. It was a great issue. The ending, oh man, I can't wait to talk with Chris about the ending because it is just like you find out there's another universe and you get to find out what that universe is and you're gonna love it. And the way it ends, I'm like looking at the last page. It's hilarious. Okay, yeah, that's what I had this week. I'm still reading Martial Law. when I was traveling, I was reading a lot of that. It's actually really good. So I'm getting more into the story of martial laws. Like he's keeping all the superheroes that have split off into gangs and stuff. He's keeping them in order, and there's the serial killers going around like raping and killing these women that are dressed up as essentially there's a Justice League, and like Superman and Wonder Woman, their counterparts here are like they're in the eyes of the public and they can fly, which is like a huge thing to be able to fly in this universe. But there's a lot of women that like try to basically imitate this Wonder Woman, and so like the serial killer is going around finding them and like killing them, and he thinks that like martial law thinks that it's the American spirit, the main guy who's the best hero, who's the Captain America that can't do no wrong. He thinks it's him, and everybody, like the whole public, disagrees with him. It's like there's a lot in like corruption, like political corruption, and all this stuff. It's really good, and the art is kind of it's like old school. Almost reminds me of like Dark Knight Returns style art, like Frank Miller style. But he gets this interesting part where you find out like the American spirit, like murdered one of his girlfriends because she was pregnant, and like he realized like if he was going to have a kid and be a superhero, like he couldn't gone on all these trips like and traveling through space and stuff, so he like murders her. Like takes this really dark twist. And you find out like that she's still alive, and the son is the one like that's a serial killer and stuff. It's so good. It's like I'm like I didn't know where the story was going, and then it was like 3 or 4 issues in, I'm like, holy shit, this is nuts. Like yeah, but it does this all with like a dark comedic. It really is like it's like a Frank Miller style book. It's good. It's really good. I recommend it. Martial law. Anyone that's looking for it. But yeah, that's all I had this week.
I got a couple others. So I read Star Wars Thrawn #1. So this is the adaptation of the Timothy Zahn novel that was released a few years back. Mm-hmm. And it's all about how the first issue is all about how they found Thrawn and how he got into the Academy and everything, because anyone that knows their Star Wars lore knows that the Empire was very anti-alien and really was a human-based organization. So there was a lot of like similarities to Hitler. Oh. So it's an interesting story of how he got in there because of his race is just so they're warrior. I can't speak today. They're a warrior race, and they know strategy. So he made an exception for him. And when he gets in the academy, like there's just a ton of racism. Like people just attacking him and for no reason and calling him things, and it's a very interesting story. I love Thrawn as a character, and if you don't have time to read a novel, here's an adaptation, and it's really good.
Yeah, with pictures, my favorite type.
And then I picked up the newest New Age of Heroes from DC, Sideways. So far, it's been like 0 for 3 on these New Age of Heroes.
I can't believe you're still doing it, man. I won't even pick them up. I can just tell. I look at them, I'm like...
I'm committed to at least trying it. It's basically Spider-Man meets The Spot.
Oh, okay.
It's a teenage superhero. He's in high school. His girlfriend knows who he is. He just got his powers. How he got his powers is kind of interesting because he during the whole thing in Gotham during Metal, where the mountain appeared, he basically fell into a crater that was caused by that gave him the Fantastic Four origin, and he came out and was able to make these rifts in time and space.
What?
And yeah. So this one actually directly comes out of stuff that happened in Metal, which was nice because the other ones say they did and didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
Or at least we don't see it yet. But at the end of the day, it was was an old school like Spider-Man comic. He's wisecracking. He's doesn't know what he's doing. He's making mistakes, and it falls into the same trope. It feels like a Marvel book that was done decades ago, and I've read those books, and, and I liked them then, and it's just like you're not iterating that much on it. So, swing and a miss on this. I'm going to keep through it. I'm reading all of them, at least the number ones of all of them.
You keep up with it, champ. I got a feeling you'll get one.
I have faith in one. I think the Terrifics is going to be the one.
Yeah, because I might even read that one.
It's Jeff Lemire.
I think that's the one I was going to read.
It's Ivan Reis. Ivan Reis is like one of my favorite artists out there.
Yeah,
I love Jeff Lemire's work.
This is the book where Ivan Reis tries a little experimental drawing. He's going to be like, let me change my style a little bit. Chris is going to be like, no.
Yeah, probably. And it's basically a Fantastic Four book, so I'm hoping that one will be good. And I like Plastic Man. Plastic Man's always fun. So
yeah, that's why I got to read that one. Because I haven't seen anything with Plastic Man in years. Literally, I think years. So,
but yeah, that was all I had this week. Yeah.
Well, that seems to be it for the week, folks.
So, Mike, where can they find you?
Find me at Rickers621 on Instagram. Where can they find you, Chris?
You find me on Instagram at Fortress News Chris or on Twitter Fortress Chris. And then the show, you can check us out at fortresscomicnews.com or on Twitter at FCN_official. Because for some reason somebody has Fortress Comic News already. And
really?
Yeah, I think it might be me, and it's just an account that I forgot the password to.
I just got locked out.
This shit's real professional, people.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, comment below, do all that fun stuff. And if you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher or not Spotify or Google Play, give us a review. It helps us out a lot, and share that with a friend too.
Especially if you're listening on MySpace.
Yeah, and look out for the MySpace page. That's happening.
Leave a comment on the MySpace.
Oh, and Facebook.com/FortressComicNews. Keep up with everything.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye.